everybody, and welcome to the Ronnie Show. We're coming up on tonight's show. We're going to have, of course, a recap of last weekend because it was crazy enough. We'll just say that. I mean, if you all thought 2 weeks ago versus the Butte, I was savage in that. Well, wait till you see this episode. And it all starts right now on the Ronnie Show. Thank you. Thank you very much. And welcome to the Ronnie Show. So glad you could be with us here this evening. Boy, last weekend. I mean, obviously you have to be living under a rock to not know, quite literally I might add, to not know what happened last week because, of course, as you all know, there was a goalie fight in the Musketeers game on Saturday night, and it made it onto Sports Center, so that's why I'm saying if you live under a rock, you probably missed it. But yeah, we're gonna talk about it right now. Recap the weekend. You know, I thought the Dubuque fans and the Dubuque players were dumb and all that, but whew, those Green Bay people are just a pain in the ass, just as much, if not even more, than the Dubuque fans are. So we're gonna talk about it right now. Let's do it. This weekend, it feels like it was a lifetime ago to me, and honestly really does, but no, it was just 3 days ago, basically, as I'm filming this, because I'm filming this on Wednesday, so, well, I guess it has been about 4-ish days, so, whatever, I gotta have my hair in tip-top shape, so, yeah, that's why I'm doing that. There we go. It looks good, but, yeah, boy, oh boy, we're going to just get into it right away because there's so much to go through. First, we're actually going to show you the goalie fight that happened right now. So here it is.
Out there. And we got a goalie fight. Here we go. Shea and Henriquez at center ice. A goalie fight. Get the sticks out of the way. And now a right again. And now taking it right back is Henriquez. They battle onto the ice and they cover up.
So obviously, as you saw, Ryder Shea took a beat down, which honestly, out of that whole scrum and all that, he was the only loser from Sioux City in that fight. So yeah, he might have lost the goalie fight, the main event, but we won all the other fights that night and really that weekend. So, you know what? Hey. hey. So, yeah, but when you get the two top teams in terms of penalty minutes in the league going after each other like that, that couldn't have been that much of a surprise. Let's just be honest. But, yeah. So, some other notes from this past weekend. And, I think there's some for this week, too. But, anyway, so here was something that none of us saw, and I don't even think Curtis brought it up on the broadcast at the time, but two guys, well, if you all can remember that one play where Musket basically got jumped, and he was the one that got the penalty and not the two other guys from Green Bay, well, those two guys came off the bench and went after him. And nobody on the ice caught that, except our coach. And I guess our play-by-play announcer did too. But their camera work was so piss poor that even if we tried to get it, like, you wouldn't see it still. Because their camera work, they just focused on one thing the whole entire time. They didn't focus on anything else going on around it or anything like that. So if you tried to present video evidence, then, you're basically SOL. So, yeah, so that was interesting, but of course, we're the ones that get screwed because of it, even though we were in the right. I mean, we weren't in the right, but, we weren't the guilty parties. And in fact, we're going to play the coaches show, the full thing, during our recap show here right after this, right after we're done, right after this goes out. during our recap show versus Sioux City and Des Moines, because he took out some of the rules in the rule book and basically called out the USHL for letting this take place. But just to sum it up, those two guys that jumped off the bench at the harshest possible penalty, or whatever you want to call it, it would have been a 5-minute major power play and then a 5-game suspension, according to the rules. So, and they got jack squat. Do better, USHL. Do better. I know you all are trying to target us. All these other teams' fans, you know, everybody hates the Sioux City Musketeers. Because they think we're dirty, we're this, we're that, we're trying to injure people, you know, we're trying to kill people. In fact, I actually did see somebody comment on one of these posts that we're about to see that they're trying to kill people, and, you know, obviously that got deleted, so that wasn't going to fly. And it was from a Green Bay fan, so just so you know. So, anyway, those were, well, that's the first note. And it was the fourth goalie fight, and Curtis Anderson, you know Curtis, who broadcast the away games. You know, we feature his audio whenever we're calling something else, mainly for away games. So you know of Curtis. This is his 25th season of broadcasting Musketeers games, and he said he has a talk show he does during the weekday, and I think he said either Monday or Tuesday that this was his fourth goalie fight, because this was the first Musketeers goalie fight in 13 years, because we had one in Sioux Falls back, it was 2012, and then I found there was a goalie fight in Waterloo. He said 2 of them happened in Waterloo, and I found one instance where there, yes, indeed was a goalie fight, and another one that might be considered one, I'm not sure. But I was actually, and we're going to do a retro Musketeers night where we're just going to look at a whole bunch of old videos of Musketeers stuff. And I was looking at a TV spot that they had, like a commercial that they put out locally, and that had a goalie fight versus Lincoln in it. And so I went back and I looked at all the game recaps, and it was a home game too. So I only had to go through 3 or 4 game recaps, and so it took me 2 minutes to find it. And the other one was during the 08-09 season, and I think the one versus Waterloo, it was, I think it was in 05 or 06. I can't remember. But I think the one incident where it almost was a goalie fight in Waterloo, I think it was during that season where there was a goalie fight versus Lincoln, which was the 08-09 season. So, yeah, I got a whole list of things we're going to go over during that Retro Musketeers night. It'll happen at some point. I just don't know when. So, yeah. And by the way, you're going to see me looking down at these notes quite a lot. That's just because normally when I write out the scripts and I do the research for these, you know, Friday night episodes of me, you know, calling out other people's BS, usually a lot, I mean, you see what goes out. That just comes, you know, spontaneously, obviously. But I think some of the more brutal and savage things I have to say come when I'm preparing for these episodes. I just forget it when, you know, we're doing this. So if I'm looking down saying some sort of roast or whatever, it's because I thought about it on Monday and I thought it would be perfect to get on, you know, the show for Friday. So, yeah. Anyway, so, and I don't know why people were making such a big deal of, I mean, yes, it's a goalie fight, you know, you don't see those rarely at all. I mean, even back during the, well, I guess I really shouldn't say that. You saw one more often, say, you know, when the NHL was more physical and, you know, so kind of like the era of the Enforcer, you know, that 80s, 90s, 2000s period, you saw more goalie fights. And that was definitely the case in the USHL. So, and you're going to see that when we go back and watch all these old Musketeers clips. So, because there's a few goalie fights in there. So, yeah. But, and the reason why I said that was because everybody is just talking about how Ryder Shea lost the fight. And he did. And he did. 2 things on that. As you saw, he got the first 2 shots in. So, Yeah. And this will probably be the only goalie fight in his hockey career, unless he becomes like a Patrick Waugh, which I don't think he will. He has too much skill for that, although Patrick Waugh had a lot of skill, too. I mean, look at all the Stanley Cups he won. Well, I guess he just won the 2, but either way, you get what I'm... Wait, no, he did win 3. 1 with Montreal and 2 with Colorado. You get what I'm trying to say, okay? This will probably be his only goalie fight in his career. So, yeah. And on a funny note, too, Parker Stockstuff, who's an affiliate for us, he got into a goalie fight this past weekend, too. Take a look at that. So 2 goalie fights from Musketeer players this weekend. You cannot make this up. You really cannot. So, yeah, I didn't even include that in the notes, but I just remembered that now. So, my goodness. We had that, and like I said in the intro, the goalie fight made Sports Center. Boy, we're 10 minutes into this first part. Holy smokes. Okay, and then funny thing, it has nothing to do with the Muskies or anything from last weekend, but Des Moines versus Sioux Falls, they were supposed to play last night, this past Tuesday night as we're filming this, and it got postponed because a bunch of players on Sioux Falls got influenza. It you not. And this actually happened last year versus Dubuque, an outbreak of influenza. So something's going on. They're spiking the protein shakes or energy drinks or something in Sioux Falls around this time. Every year, it seems like. And Dubuque was actually in town when this happened. And they did not want to postpone the game. They wanted to play it. And I guess, and I got this from a couple of Sioux Falls fans, which really they shouldn't be trusted. But I'm trusting them in this case. I guess the Sioux Falls fans said, like, they had the players on the bench were almost throwing up, like, on the bench. I mean, I would have paid money to frickin' see them throwing up on the bench. I know that. I mean, because, you know, get them down, my goodness. So, yeah. Okay, let's get into all the BS that happened this weekend. Yeah, the real meat and potatoes, why you're watching this show tonight. So, we're going to start out, I didn't have this on my sheet of notes, but I thought I'd do this before, you know, everything else, before all the comments on this post got taken. So, obviously, Sioux City posts at the end of every game, you know, 5-2 final or whatever the score of the game is. Just like that. And the Green Bay I thought Fargo fans were bad when it came to their behavior after their games and treating us like, you know, all that. Because you know the 6 Fargo clowns we got. Darius Andres, Ron Gilmore, Joey Hughes, Ryan Hoyland, Albert Mata. I'm forgetting somebody else, but I think you get what I'm getting at here. In fact, I actually wrote them down on a Post-it note that I have back in my dorm. So I'll put that last name on the screen, who I forgot. So anyway, as I was saying, I mean, look at this. Green Bay fans, there was 9 comments, and this is just 5 of them. In fact, there was 2 or 3 more, I think, from Green Bay. So basically, the whole comment section was all from Green Bay. So, ask 31 if he enjoyed his visit to Green Bay. Tell 43, Mason Stanger, he's got to work on his chirps. They were mid at best, which the only way you probably would have heard his chirps is if either one, he was chirping at you, which you 100% deserve to get your ass beat if that did happen, or you were on the ice skating around it. Because those were the only 2 ways you could have heard him chirp. So, there's that. And then another comment, will the coach be buying the team the ice cream after putting up 58 penalty minutes? And then that was before they updated it, of course, to 103. And they actually took away 10 penalty minutes from Green Bay. I don't know why, but it's stupid that they did that. I don't know why. I mean, it was 103-70. I guess they thought 173 was more, more appropriate than 183. Like it made a big difference anyway. Like, let's be honest here. It doesn't really matter. I'm gonna be talking a lot, so I need this water. So yeah, now we'll get to the fun stuff. Oh, okay, I forgot about this part 2. So what the league does is that obviously they'll post like other notes that you won't see in the game recap, such if the game gets delayed or a team takes a timeout, there's no other place to really put that stuff. But if you go back to the game recap from Saturday night, here's this in the public notes. Major roughing assessed to number 37 Musketeers because major aggressor does not exist in league stats. So now we're just making up penalties. That's the worst. Us getting the most amount of penalties in the league, penalty minutes in the league, that's already bad enough. But the fact that we're making up now, I mean, my God, you deserve to get fired for that. I don't care if, we had the most amount of penalty minutes or the least amount of penalty minutes. The fact that you're just making up penalties at this point, that is a fireable offense. I just got to say it. Just got to say it for what it is. And we'll get to all the suspensions and all that during the game recap because a lot of those were just, from tonight's game. That's really all. And it wasn't really any of our star guys, which is good. It was Poliski, Potter, Anderson, although Anderson's going to miss more than one game. But I think it was just Shea, Potter, Poliski, Anderson, and somebody else. I can't remember who. But, yeah, I can't remember off the top of my head. But, it's none of our stars, I guess. The ones who provide the most offense in terms of, like, goals and assists and points and things like that. So that's good. That's a plus that came out of this for us. Okay, so here we go. Now, these posts, I think we're going to go through maybe 11 or 12 of them. I think there's now, it's up to 16 or 17. As you know, even though I love showcasing people's stupidity from other teams across the league, other teams' fans, being stupid and outrageous with their comments just because they don't know what I know. And that's quite a lot. Most of these people are keyboard warriors anyway, which is why I get, a couple of my friends from college watch these shows and they say, Ronnie, you should confront these people in real life and stuff. And I always tell them, I don't want to confront keyboard warriors because keyboard warriors are stupid, they don't know anything, and they've got nothing else to do with their time besides comment stuff on social media and make an ass of themselves. So I'm just not going to do it. I'm not going to do it. Besides, I think this is a great format, a great forum where, I can showcase people's stupidity. But even that gets to a point for me where I just completely boil and I explode. So, yeah. Alrighty, so here was the first post we're going to showcase to you. It was the goalie fight, and this was basically right after it happened. This guy posted it. And you're going to get familiar with the guy here. His name is John Smith. He's a Green Bay fan. So, yeah, his comment was, I might trash talk Henriquez, but holy shit. So, obviously, this was after, And hang on, I want to see. I just remembered something, and I want to know if it's going to come up here in any of these posts. So many words, I gotta. And now I just forgot what I was looking for. Sometimes that'll just happen, but I don't care. Okay, this wasn't what I was looking for, but Henriquez, this was his first game back in 4 weeks. Since November 1st, this was his first game back. Because he was, I guess, sick. I wonder what he got that took him out for that long. That's what I want to know. Yeah, I completely forgot what I was going to say now. Well, and I'll say this too. You know how I feel about, fans criticizing their own players and their own fans for, what they deem as stupid or doing all that, I 100% hate that because it makes you look like you're a bad fan. It does. So, the fact that he posted this makes him already a sucky person. So, there was that. And I'm surprised that this was the only comment that was posted on this post, to be quite honest with you. So, anyway, next post. Oh, shoot. I'm getting ahead of myself. Oh, and this is how we're going to format all these posts now. I have them all labeled by trash talk and discussion and all the USHL groups just so that it makes it easier for me. I like things organized, so yeah, that's why we're doing it. All right, second post now. This is another angle of the goalie fight. I think the first 3 posts are all goalie fights. So, okay. So, some of the comments here, we'll start off with the Sioux City fan. His name is Justin, and he's a good family friend. Okay, so basically he said, way to go, Shay. And I can give you links to all these posts in the description or in a comment if you want them. So, he basically said, way to go, Shay. And then John Smith replied with, okay, you and your trash-ass team, what's your record? You boys better start scoring. And then Justin said, LOL, come to Sioux City and it'll be a whole different game, Which this John Smith, you're going to see too, he needs to fix his grammar. I mean, he did not pass an English class in high school. I can tell right now. So already that makes whatever he's going to say irrelevant because he can't use proper grammar. He doesn't know how to spell or anything like that. And it would be one thing, if he was, well, But I think you know what I'm trying to say. But yeah, if that was the case, then that's one thing. But, if he's... we better stop before I get canceled just for saying that. Stop while I'm ahead, as they say. And then Sarah Catherine put in that same comment thing. And it says she's from Lake Forest, Illinois, but, well, she was born there, but it doesn't say where she is from. No, she lives there now, and it doesn't say where she's from. So already what she's about to say is irrelevant. So she said he threw one punch and then got his ass rocked. Yeah, good job, Shay. And then that Jess Shannon Cruz, I don't know if that was in response to the conversation they were having, but she's a Fargo fan, which her opinion is irrelevant because her team wasn't playing. He said, Sioux City, or SC goalie got his face rocked, LOL. And then there was a comment thread from a Sioux City fan, and because of the piss poor camera work, we didn't see the goalies. The only time we ever saw the goalies was the actual fight itself, and when they basically dropped their mitts and their helmets, and they were, kind of standing like this, about ready to go. So we don't know what happened that sparked this. But he said, what was said or what happened to make them fight? And this Ryan Zeus guy, I don't know if he's from Green Bay or not, but he said, I purely think it was just to give the crowd what we wanted. And both teams wanted to fight so bad. Which is true, when you get the 2 most penalized teams in the league, you obviously got to show who's the boss. And clearly we showed we were the bosses. In fact, Green Bay fans said, and I couldn't find the post, the night before said, we want to see some fights. We want to see some blood drawn and, crazy stuff like that. So they got what they asked for, except for, besides them actually winning the game and that goalie fight, we pretty much beat them in every scrum, every fight, etc. So, yeah. So, now a Sioux City fan, his name is James Turner, he said, SC goalie is weak. Back to my point about criticizing your own players and things like that. He needs to lose his fan card. I'm almost positive he's a season ticket holder, so he should lose those as well. I mean, you can't criticize your team. At least you can, but it makes you look like so you will barely ever hear me talk bad about Sioux City or the team or anything like that, because I'm a fan. I don't have anything negative to say. Like, come on. We could be last in the league in points, and I wouldn't have to say anything bad. Or I won't say anything bad because it's not my responsibility. You know, when you do that, you're trying to play coach. And you have no experience in coaching in any way whatsoever. You're just a regular fan who sits down and watches the game. You know, only the coach should criticize their team. Nobody else. So stay the out of it. I've already sworn enough. I mean, we're up to what, 10 or 11 bleeps at this point. So anyway, there's going to be more to come. Trust me. Anyway, Jarrett McFarland, we don't know where this guy's from. Shout out to that linesman for preventing the SC goalie from smacking his head on the ice. Which was, yes, 100%. Agree with him on that. Then Ron Gilmore from Fargo, you know, that pest. Again, his opinion's irrelevant here because he's a Fargo fan. SC, as usual, flat on their back. LOL, been a while since I saw one. Well, I guess half of his comment was irrelevant. The last half of it, though, not so much. Anyway, so that's it for that post. And so now we'll go to the third one. And then just another angle of the Green Bay. Oh, I remember what I was going to say. And you know what? I think I actually do talk about it later on. Okay, maybe I don't think I did. But anyway, so after this goalie fight, when Green Bay's goalie got... See, there it is. There it is again. You see how they're all celebrating and jumping up and down and things like that? The only one that should have been doing that was their goaltender. But no, all those other guys from Green Bay were doing it too. And that, they should have gotten unsportsmanlike calls for acting like jackasses. Yeah, so the takedown goes in that. There's the guy going, yes, yes, yeah. Like, you realize how stupid you look? And besides, this is in front of a whole bunch of scouts, too. You think they're going to want to see that kind of behavior? Grow the hell up. Okay. So anyway, back to this post. You know what? This might not be the post. Maybe I did get these switched around. Hang on a second here. Okay, maybe I should look at these closer. Okay. Maybe. Oh, I think I'd probably combine them all because these first three videos were, you know, basically all different angles of the goalie fight. So that's why that was the case. So that we wouldn't have to showcase it over and over again. Alrighty, now I think we're back on track here. So this guy, his name is John Deere Round Fender. That's his name, people. That's his profile name. Like I said, I could send you all the links for all these posts, and you'll know I'm telling the truth. It says his profile is from Wisconsin. I'm going to assume it's Green Bay just because, you know, he wouldn't have posted this if he wasn't from Green Bay. But he said so many penalty minutes tonight, so many penalties in the Gamblers in Sioux City game. Of course, you can't even freaking spell Sioux City right, so already that comment is whoosh. But then our guy, his name's Ryan, and we've known him probably, I think I've known him since I was born, and he's only about, 5 or 6 years older than I am, probably, so a while, we'll just say that. He stood up for our guys, as he should, as a good fan does. He said, when there's refereeing, he spelled it wrong, but that's okay. What do you expect to happen? And before anyone says no, it's reffing, then why does fights only happen when there's a lot of penalties and a lot of missed penalties? It's due to refs and not having control of the game. I agree. And then Alex Morrow, I think he's a Sioux City fan. I'm not 100% sure. But he said all teams throw cheap shots time to time, which is true. But you can't blame the refs for their teammates, and they should be allowed... Oh, wait, hang on, sorry. But you can't blame the refs for players not having their emotions in check. That I disagree with. Because most of the time, and you've seen this, because there's scrums on basically every other whistle for if you're Sioux City, it's because somebody on the other team either did something stupid or they said something stupid, and all we're doing is just defending our guys, the guys who got hurt or, that got offended. We're just sticking up for our own guys, which should be legal. And that's why we have so many penalty minutes, is because we can't stand up for our own teammates. And I think that is stupid. Like, you realize how many penalty minutes all the other teams across the league would have just for defending their own teammates? Like, come on. Come on, wake up, people. Serious, honest to God, wake up. And then Jody Denny, he's from Sioux City. He's a Sioux City fan. It says, I would agree with you on this. SC has so many after the play penalties, it's killed them this year. Can't do stupid things after the play and expect to win. I am sorry, but those penalties are not the reason why. That's not killed us this year. It's just the fact that our defense, and I will admit it, our defense isn't very good. I will admit that. But it's not because of these penalties, though, already. And I can confirm he is a season ticket holder. So like I said about James Turner, take away his season seats and all that stuff. Take away as much as you can. And then, this Angie who we talked about, after the Dubuque weekend. Shoot, then I turned my fan off. I mean, the way things are getting heated up in here, we really can't have the fan going off, because, I just bumped the plug, that's all. Because I'm going to start getting sweat. I was going to start sweating in here if we didn't have that. But she said, and this is Angie speaking, Muskie, just the one guy she's picking on here. Because Muskie is Muskete's nickname, by the way. Muskie are a dirty team, not surprised on all the penalties. And then Kendall, he's a Sioux City fan, I know. Well, I don't know. I know of him. We just don't know each other personally. He said, no team is perfect. Each have their moments. Calm down. 100%. We haven't always been a dirty team. Like, in these highlights, when we do this Retro Muskies night, you're going to see things were way worse in the 80s and the 90s. Many more beatdowns and many more penalties than there are for this team this year. So, there's that. And then Angie, once again, said, it's every game they play. Even more embarrassing to have a coach act the way he does and lets his team play the way they do. And then, Kendall did not respond. But to Angie, fuck off. Seriously, the fuck off. She is once again judging us on basically now 5 games. The 2 games we played against, well, I guess it would only be the 2. Or only be the 4. The two games versus Dubuque, and then the 2 games this weekend versus Green Bay. That's all she's judging us by. And this little number that's on the league website. That's all she's judging us by. And I think I told her explicitly after that Dubuque weekend, that same thing basically. And we won't even mention what happened there because I'm still pissed off. It makes my blood boil every single time I think about it. So we're just not going to get into it any further. But seriously though, Angie, and I mean it in the nicest possible way too. You might have a great life, I don't care. I don't really care, to be quite honest with you. Like, I hope you do have a good life and all of that, but, seriously, just get out of the way, please. Thank you. Okay, and this is from a Green Bay fan. His name is Heather Schmidt. So ugly. Not surprised after last night's game. Now, I'm not 100% sure exactly what she means by this. It could be I have two ways. I interpreted this in two ways. One, she didn't like, or she saw what happened the night before between both the teams, and because both teams were equally dirty this weekend. But we're just an easy target because we have the most penalty minutes in the league. Or she just called us, the Muskies, dirty, which in that case, well, I won't repeat myself again. Boy, we've got, I think, what? Maybe 5 more posts to go, and we're 33 minutes in deep here. Okay. Next post. Okay. So this guy posted, still sucks. John Smith, again, a majority of these posts and comments are from John Smith. He said, still sucks, and then posted a picture of the scoreboard, which, fine, whatever, who cares. But Anthony Finch, he's a Sioux City fan, he says, as a Musketeers fan, I agree. We play dirty, and I hate it. P.S. Are there any teams that play clean? Well, that last part, I mean, that's an honest question. But for that first part, we're now going to call it the Not Musketeer Fans Anymore section for the way you criticize our team. So you can join James and what's his name, Jody or whatever. Jody. You can join him there too as well. So I think there's one more that's going to be thrown into that section. And then Matthew Hansen from Green Bay spells Sioux wrong in Sioux City again. So what I'm about to say, what he said, it's irrelevant. He just says, yes, Sioux City does. Once again, learn how to spell. And then only judging us off of 2 games. That's all these fans are judging us by. They're judging us on the present. Not the past, not the future, the present. Just so you know. Because I'm the same way. I will admit it, I'm the same way. But there's more truth in terms of what I have to say than what any of these keyboard warriors are saying. So, yeah, that's the difference. Okay, next post. Good riddance, Sewer City. Well, this is from Sebastian Zutzius. I'm assuming he's a Green Bay fan. He in fact spelled riddance wrong at first, and I think we have a picture of it. So, anyway, good riddance, Sewer City, and then of course Ryan stands up for our team once again. Good on him. Learn who the oldest original team in the league is, and then you can talk otherwise. Keep your comments to yourself, young one, and respect your elders, aka older team. 100% true. Green Bay, I don't know when they were invented, but you know what? They don't have nearly the same amount of history as the Muskies do. And then they got into a fight afterwards about who's really the oldest team in the league, which it's a bunch of mumbo jumbo that I'm not going to get into. But he's right, respect your elders. Waterloo, they were founded in 1962, but they had some broken service where they weren't in the league. So that would make Sioux City the oldest, but I don't know. I don't really give a crap, to be quite honest with you. But I will say this. Tell me, which other team in the league has a hockey historian for their team? Because we have one in Sioux City. His name's Woody. Just such a great guy. He knows pretty much anything that is Sioux City. I mean, I'm kind of like the much younger version of him. And, obviously I've got a whole bunch of facts and, memories and videos online. So I honestly kind of was thinking the other day, we should have like a panel discussion or like a round table with like me, him, some like former players or coaches and staff members on the team. I think it would be an interesting, we'd probably talk for 2-3 hours about the team, but I think it would do well. I think a lot of people would be interested in it. So if anybody in the Musketeers organization is watching this, which I know there's a couple that do, let me know. I'd definitely be interested in it. And then Sean Twyford, he's from Sioux City. Now there's this one guy, Don Klingberg. Love him as well. I mean, he is a savage. I know that. And I'm so sad that he's not sitting in our row anymore. I think last season or the season before he made the switch. So now he's down right up against the glass, which is even funnier to see him just pounding it and stuff because he's so tall. I mean, he's probably 6'3" or 6'4", so He's not hard to spot, we'll say that. But I'll hear him every once in a while from down there. And you could hear him when he was sitting on our row. Gosh, I truly do miss him because his chirps were, they were so good. But anyway, the Sioux City fan named Sean Twyford, he said, eat a bag of Dawn. And he spelled Dawn like the female version, D-A-W-N. Which basically he called him a girl, which I would not appreciate if I was Dawn. But yeah, it says trash talk for a reason, which is true. All these posts did come from the USHL trash talk. But like I said, we can't have Sioux City fans talking like this towards other fans. Safe to say, we are Sioux City. We are one family, but we can't be saying bad things towards each other because that just creates a whole bunch of tension, family tension. And I don't like that. So, yeah, I think Sean Twyford, we can kind of include him in the non-Musketeer fan section. They might say they are, but they're not. I don't accept them as fans, so. Anyway. 7th post. Well, I think it's actually only the 6th, but. Alrighty. Yikes. Lol. And it's just a post. Okay, so here's what happened. The play they were showing.
Down on the ice.
Oh, this wasn't. Okay, yes, it was. So there was one guy that was down from Green Bay who was taken down by Luke Gehry. There's a whole bunch of comments. I don't, like I said, I get to a limit when it comes to exposing other people's stupidity. So we're just, yeah. But basically, he was taken down by Luke Gehry, and then Gehry got one cross check in when he was on the ground. And a lot of people called that dirty and said that Luke Gehry should be suspended for basically trying to injure an opponent. First of all, if you know anything about hockey players, it's that they wear all this protection on them. They got like all these body pads type of stuff. So Wooten probably didn't even feel it, although he was rolling over the ground and doing that. I think he was just faking that, to be quite honest with you. But yeah, he got one shot in. There's no way that could have hurt with all that padding on him. I just find it impossible. So yeah, and then there was another post that said, oh wait, no, this isn't even the same post. Okay, I'm sorry. Because there was another interesting post. In fact, we're going to get into it right now, but I just thought I'd mention that. So, yikes, LOL. And then this was the thing about the penalty that doesn't exist. And then we got a former Musketeer and former Green Bay gambler involved in this. Because Jordan Schmaltz is his name. And his brother played for St. Louis and won a championship. I can't, for the life of me, remember what his first name was, but it started with a J. It was like Jaden or something like that. Jaden, Jordan. Well, Jordan's his name. I don't know. I don't remember. But he said, folks, let's turn our attention to I guess he's some big-time celebrity. He's got a check mark next to his name. I never knew that. But, folks, let's turn our attention to the USHL and head over to the Rush Center in beautiful Green Bay, Wisconsin. I've never seen a fight celebrated harder than a Game 7 OT winner in the Stanley Cup, let alone by the guy who wasn't even in the fight. Imagine doing the Bobby Orr jump because your goalie chucked at center ice during the second period in Game 16 of the season. The whole team celebrating on the bench like the countdown is on winning a championship as the clock strikes 0. To be young again, man, what a bunch of dip. And I mean that in the best way possible. You love to see the enthusiasm. That's baseball. Oh! Okay, there's really a lot to unpack there. There, honest to God, really is. But I 100% agree. I mean, the way they were just jumping around, up and down, showboating. Like, you see it, some of the guys coming off the bench to basically celebrate. Dude, and there's no penalties for that either. They were acting like children on the ice. So that should have been called for unsportsmanlike, but, you know, I digress, obviously. So, yeah, before I get myself in more trouble. And then John Smith, of course, being the smart ass he is, said, but who whipped y'all's ass both times? Again, he needs to learn grammar and learn English. I know that. Even though he's from Green Bay, English was his second language. And then Darius, you know, couldn't keep his mouth shut. So here's what he said. Posted the same thing, that same screenshot, and said this. The guy who wrote this is obviously a Musketeer fan. So when your team gets lit up on the scoreboard and in the fist fights, this is how they deflect the attention from that disaster. Sorry, Musketeers, but your team gave you nothing to be thankful for this weekend. Man up and move on. Now, I will give him credit. What he said was true. Your team gave you nothing to be thankful for. In terms of wins, yes, 100%. Because they lost both of them. Thank God we won on Wednesday night. But the fact he's saying man up and move on. He thinks that, you know, we haven't gotten over this. Which, obviously, I think at this point we all have. You know, this is kind of like my one time where I can get over things like this. So, you know, once we go towards this weekend, I can have a fresh, clean head. So, I mean, obviously we'll remember what happened. I mean, it's kind of hard to forget. But, you know, at least we'll get over it to a point where we'll basically just stop talking about it altogether. For a while, at least. So, but, two other things that I need to say to Darius. One, do your research. Schmaltz, yes, he played. Obviously, Darius has never heard of him before. Yes, he played for Sioux City. He played there for about 2.5 years, but he spent the last half of that season that he played with Green Bay. So, do some research, Darius. But, you know, why would he do that? I mean, who does any research for anything anymore? Like, KKK. And you know what? We're going to address something. We're going to just address the elephant in the room, okay? Green Bay is the second most penalized team in the league, and I have not heard one person say that Green Bay is a dirty team. In fact, there's two other teams with 400 plus penalty minutes, Sioux Falls and Lincoln, although they both got, well, Sioux Falls had over 100 in one game this season, and Lincoln had over 90 in one game this weekend, or one game this season. But I don't hear anything about them being dirty, especially Green Bay, the second most penalized team in the league. In fact, even before this game, before this weekend, they were still the second most penalized team in the league. And I have not heard one person call them dirty, but yet we're the easy target because we have the most penalty minutes in the league. Like, come on. Stop it. Gosh, the nerve of some people, you know what? We're just going to get through these last things quickly. I had a whole monologue written out, which I'll kind of sum it up now. You know, even though I criticize, and I'm going to say exactly what I said versus Dubuque well, I guess we will go through a couple of more posts, but I had written out a long monologue right at the end, but we're almost at 50 minutes for this first part, and we need to get a commercial break in. So I'm just going to say this. In fact, this could be over an hour long just without the commercials. So, but anyway, I'm just going to sum it up by this. You know what? We all share one thing in common, me and all these keyboard warriors. We are all passionate fans of our team. And we're going to defend our teams, you know, because if all of these people were in my shoes when our team kept on being criticized for being dirty, even though 90% of those penalty minutes weren't from them being dirty, the Muskies being dirty, you'd be pissed off just as much, if not even more, than I am. So, have some empathy. Have some empathy, people. So, yeah, that's it. We finally get to move on from all the trash talk. Well, at least I thought we did, but I got my hopes up too high. So this first post is from the main USHL discussion group. This is basically a clean forum, no trash talk, anything like that. So anybody at the Green Bay / Sioux City game tonight know what the coach said / did to get ejected? Because Kerster got thrown out on Friday night for the third time this year. So that kind of says a lot. And I guess Lincoln, well, Darius had something smart to say, but I'm not gonna say it because it's 100% irrelevant because his team wasn't playing. He just likes the sound of his own voice. But I guess Lincoln's coach, Rocky Russo, the fat, bald-headed midget, he got thrown out during a game this year. And, of course, it's Rocky Russo. He's probably one of the scummiest people in the league. But, yeah, he got thrown out by the same referee. And his... this referee's name is Samantha Hiller. Now, obviously, it's a female referee, which I have no problem with, to be quite honest. In fact, I think the female referees across all sports are way better than their male counterparts. I honest to God do. Except for this one. Because if she's throwing out 2 coaches because she doesn't want to hear what they have to say, that looks really, really bad on her part. So, yeah, that was the first post. And then the second post... I don't even know. Oh, well, you know what? Since it doesn't really relate to what we're talking about, I'm just... Okay, so now we're going to go to the USHL discussion. That's all they call it. It's just discussion. As you know, these are the moderators from Dubuque, so I'm going to have to deal with those people. But we're going to show you what the group is about. What it's about. When you first open up the page, here's what it's about. This is a USHL discussion group where everyone can talk and share their opinions and thoughts. The only way you won't be allowed is if you are rude and disrespectful. Otherwise, everyone is welcome. Doesn't matter who or what you like. All I ask is for everyone to respect each other. I'm going to post things two O's, not one. Just like everyone can. I advise everyone to post, comment, and enjoy posts on this group. I hope you truly enjoy the USHL in the 2024-25. She forgot to update that at the beginning of the year. I said that 2 weeks ago, and she still hasn't done it yet, which I don't even think she watches this, and I could really care less if she does or not. In the 2024-2025 USHL season. So, yeah. What I'm about to show you now is... stuff from the USHL discussion. I guess one from the discussion group got thrown in there. But this first post was of that one penalty that we were talking about with Luke Gehry. So yeah, we'll scroll down, and of course Angie had to flap her gums again. Some other people from Sioux City had to flap their gums. They don't belong. Like Amy, she doesn't belong. Joe Pryor Miller, we'll throw you all in that group as well. I'm sorry, but you are wrong. You are wrong. But yeah, I mean, and then this Green Bay fan, I guess. I don't even know if he's from Green Bay. I really could care less. But he agreed with Angie, of course, from Dubuque. And this is all all these comments that I'm sharing now, they're all going to be... they're all going to convey one goal, basically to sum everything up from this group. Muskie's had 103 penalty minutes tonight, just for them. I think since I've started doing the stats, that's the most I've ever seen from one team. Well, she forgot, because the Sioux Falls guy had to remember this, was that she had forgotten about October 19th, 2025, which was just a month and a half ago. So unless she's got amnesia, she shouldn't have forgotten this. It was Des Moines versus Sioux Falls at the Danny Sanford. Des Moines had 110 penalty minutes, and Sioux Falls had 92. I got the two teams flipped, because I think I said Sioux Falls were the ones in triple digits. I was wrong. I just misremembered. That's all. Don't come after me, or else I swear to God. Not the most I've seen in a game, but a fun night behind the mic, because he's the public address announcer for the Danny Sanford, the arena Sioux Falls plays at. And yeah, basically Fargo, they called us dirty. This Fargo fan, just Shannon Cruz. James Miles, I don't know where he's from, but he's from Zawingle, Iowa, wherever the hell that is. You said that we are dirty. Old time hockey lives. And Ashley, actually, playing hockey like that is kind of gross. Play the game. Don't play to be dirty and hurt people, which is not what Sioux City tries to do. I mean, if you act like a jackass, you deserve to get hurt. I'm not going to lie, but that's one thing I will agree with. You play like a jackass, you act like a jackass, deserve to get a punch thrown at you. That's all I'm going to say. And well-deserved, I might add. Well-deserved. Yeah, I'm not going to go through the last two posts because they all convey the same mission statement. So your goal is to basically say, back here, we'll go back to it. The only way you won't be allowed is if you're rude and disrespectful. And you ask everybody to respect each other. So you, the main moderator, calling our team dirty, and some of your fellow fans calling our team dirty, and other fans from across the league calling us dirty. Is that being respectful? Because I have serious questions about this lady running this page. But of course, she's from Dubuque. Why should I even be asking myself that? I'm not going to remove myself from that group because, one, I don't post anything. The only reason why I'm in these groups is so that I can find out information like this, so I can expose all these people for you. And so if you ever run into them in public, you can just walk right past them, just forget that they even existed, basically. Because I forget half the time these people exist before I do these videos. So, until I do these videos and I do the research from these videos. But like I said, if you're going to say that, all you ask is for people to be respectful, and you have people calling our team dirty and some other names, and you're just going to not delete that or do anything about it, that makes you look really, really bad. It does. It truly does. That's all I got to say. I told you that 2 weeks ago when we had that Dubuque, 3 weeks ago at this point, when we had that weekend after Dubuque, and all of you guys were coming after us for, allegedly playing dirty, although the refs basically rigged it in your guys' favor. So, at least what I do here, I do it in a comedic mode. Like, I'm not looking for people to take me seriously or anything like that. Doing this Sioux City stuff is the only time where I get to be a fan. Really, it is. It's the only time. So, I'm not trying to be professional or serious or anything like that, really, for that matter, clearly, as you can tell. If I were to send an audition tape in for a company to do some sort of emceeing or play-by-play or whatever, which, first of all, we'll kind of talk about that at the end of the year, because my goals, at least in life, have kind of shifted a little bit. But I would not send them any of my Sioux City stuff, just because, I'm a fan. That would look unprofessional. So I just wouldn't do it. So, but yeah, like I said, my goals have kind of shifted a little bit, as I've kind of had some thinking time over the summer. So, yeah. Gosh, why do I even do these videos anyway? That's what I want to know. And I said this at the beginning. You all know how much I hate people's stupidity. I mean, 100% of what I show from these away fans is all stupidity. Whether or not, they're trying to be nice and respectful and, at least thinking that they're showing off that message, which they're not, obviously, as you saw. Like I said, we all have one thing in common, is that if you are in my shoes, you'd be just as pissed off. And your team is in the same, you'd be pissed, just like I am. So we're all even. And I don't hope that, something bad happens to them. I'm just not that kind of person. But I just think their opinions are a little sucky. That's all. Like I told Angie, I think that was her name, basically, have a good life. I don't want to hear from you again. And I mean that seriously. I hope she does have a good life. I mean, I really honestly do. I mean, I hope nothing happens for her. In fact, I would show up to her funeral if she died. I literally would, because that's just who I am. You know, I am nice, okay? I am nice. That's what I think people forget when I do these videos, is that I am a nice person. But it's, you know, like I said, it's just spur of the moment. You know, we all, as fans of sports teams across the country, you know, when stuff like this happens, you're always defensive of your team and roasting the other team, things like that. That's just sports, people. That's just sports. It really is. So, yeah, and I'm going to keep doing it for as long as I live, which hopefully will be another 80 or 90 years. Well, I'd be basically 100, 110 at that point. Hopefully, God willing, I'll live that long. But, yeah, if it takes me a whole lifetime to expose stupidity, then I'm going to do it. So, yeah, we're going to take a break, and, yeah, we'll be right back. Don't go anywhere. Boy, an hour long without going to commercial. Boy, stay tuned. Welcome back, everybody. Well, I did mention that coming up next, we're going to have the game recap between Sioux City and Des Moines, and we'll play the full coaches show where they kind of got distracted because for this talk show that I mentioned that our play-by-play announcer does every weekday, he's at like a certain location around town, mainly a restaurant, but during the morning versions of those shows, he's usually at like the regular radio station studio, or he's at Thrive Wellness, which is just like a wellness center, and another place called Kalen's Indoor Comfort, which is like, you know, heating, air conditioning, things like that. But anyway, they were at Bob Rose Tuesday night, and there was an auction. They have a big auction every year, and it just so happened to be taking place that night. So they kind of got distracted with other things because, you know, Steve Montgomery, manager of the Explorers, showed up. Bobby Post, the pitching coach, he showed up. So, yeah, they kind of get distracted with that. But it's still always a fun watch. You know, I do this every Tuesday in preparation of, you know, the upcoming weekend. So, and I'm going to keep doing that for as long as I live. But, yeah, we'll feature that and, of course, game recap of Sioux City and Des Moines. And then we'll preview tomorrow in the game recap. So, yeah, we'll take a break. We'll wrap it up right after this. Okay, apologies for the crazy hair. I just woke up the next day after filming this, and I just saw this video, which, if you know the Kachuk brothers, I guess they got some sort of podcast or something like that. I don't know what, but Matthew said something really stupid about the goalie fight, so let's look at it.
Speaking of Gong Show, I gotta just quick pivot. Did you see that USHL goalie fight?
Oh, Gong Show. I love the guys celebrating.
Like the Bobby Orr. Did you see the kid that, I think it was George Schultz tweeted about, like, it was like a Bobby Orr celebration. He wasn't even in the fight. It was like unbelievable. Just to see how happy that bench was.
Bree, those are all high school kids. It's probably like their first time. Like, nobody sees a goalie fight, so like those kids are probably talking about that. Like, how amazing that would be. Good for the two goalies. Let's give them a shout out. I don't know their names. I don't know. I know it's a couple guys or one was on Green Bay Gamblers, probably the best USHL hockey town, I would say.
Great spot.
If I had to send a kid to the USHL, if they're not going to the US team, I think Green Bay would probably be number one. At least it was 10 years ago when I was there.
No, it's a great spot.
Rin kind of gets rocking there. So, all right, Brady. We got favorite one.
Okay, so let me set you all down here for a moment. So first of all, he said Green Bay is probably the best team in the whole entire USHL. Well, he played for Team USA for 2 years, so there's no way he can be saying that and dissing his former team like that. Plus, he's a humongous schmuck anyway, so I wouldn't be all that surprised. I'm honestly not even that surprised he said all that stuff he did in the last video. So, Matthew, well, he can be a humongous schmuck at times. He's kind of toned it down a lot the last few years, which is good. It's led Florida to win a couple of championships, but yeah, I think do some research and stay out of the USHL. You're in the pros now. You don't need to make an ass of yourself. So, yeah. All right, now we'll go to the outro. Welcome back, everybody. Well, what did we learn here tonight? I think it's just that, you know, we're all going to get over this. You know, this is kind of like my therapy for getting over, you know, what happened the past weekend, good or bad. And like I said, we're now going to have the Ronnie show every Friday night now. So, yeah, that'll be exciting for sure. So yeah, thank you so much for watching. Remember, Sioux City versus Des Moines coming up right after this. So yeah, we will see you then for that. Bye-bye. Thank you. Thank you very much. Closed captioning is brought to you in part by... Thank you. Thank you very much.